Hey guys, Joe Hildreth here from myheat.com. Well, I'm back on the Burke. It's been a few weeks since I was able to put out a video, but looks like I had some time today to do a little recording, so let's see how far we get. So in the last video, you remember I built this little bench. I've decided where I want it to go, right? But now it needs to be leveled up. You see here that it's rocking, right? And I mocked up on here. I've placed the chip pan or the oil catch pan and the column on top of it to kind of get an idea of what we're doing. Before I level the bench up, I will need to bore a hole in the bench for the knee screw, the jack screw, to pass through. And then after that, I'm going to have to do something about this casting. So let me bring you in a little closer and show you what I mean. Okay, so we're a little closer in here onto the oil drip pan or the chip pan, whatever you call it. I'm not sure because, you know, I'm not really a machinist. I'm a computer guy who likes to play out in the shop. But one of the problems that I have, I'll hold this bench still so that it doesn't rock, is that, see, there's rock in the casting, in this bottom casting. So once I get the bench leveled up, I think what I'll do is I'll put a level across this, kind of figure out where it's most level, and then determine some heights for some shims to put under whatever corners that I have to put under them. And then when that's done, we'll place the column back on here. And now the column may have the same issue. You know, there may be some rock on that. I just don't know, and won't know really until you know, I get the column up on there after this is fastened down. So that's the game plan. And well, let's get started. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do to lay out the chip pan to the table. I've got the chip pan, the face of it, flush with the front of the table using a couple of 2x4s that I've clamped to the table for it to butt up against, right? So that's going to set the depth for me. Now, I did not center, or I'm choosing not to center the chip pan in the middle of the bench. Instead, I'm using the width of my level here, which is 2.5 inches, and I'm going to offset it on this side 2.5 inches, and that's going to leave about 4 inches on this side. And the reason why I opted to do that is because the motor assembly hangs on this side, and I'm trying to give it an opportunity to not over counterbalance the bench, right? So the first thing I want to do here, now that this is in place, is I just want to mark where I want my fasteners to go. So the first thing I want to mark here is a hole that I need to drill for the knee screw or the jack screw. And here I have a 1/2 inch punch. And I'm just going to mark the bench. Oops. Make sure we're still good there. Where these are going to go. And drill this stuff out. So I'm going to drill these holes out, and then I'll bring you right back in. Okay, so I have the holes drilled. I used a 1.25" Forstner bit to drill the hole for the knee screw, and I used a 5/16 inch bit to drill the holes for the lag screws that I'm going to use, and I opted to use 1/2 inch lag screws. Alright, so those are done. I think the next thing to do is to level the bench. Okay, let's talk just a little bit about how I'm leveling this bench. You remember in the last video, you've seen where I bolted a 3 inch by 3 inch by 1/4 inch plate to the bottom with lag bolts that have a threaded hole. That hole is a 1/2-13, and I have 4 of these feet screwed in there, right? 1/2 inch 13 thread. So what I'll do is I will use the 3/4 inch to adjust the foot up and down till it's level, and then I will use this as a jam nut against the bottom of the plate. So I mean, you got the idea. This is not rocket science. But let's kind of look at the table here. So you can see as it stands right now, the front, or this part here, needs to go down, right, in order to bring that bubble in line. And if I turn it this way, you could see that it's pretty close, okay? But now if I push this corner down, which you know is not right, the bubble moves this way. I don't know if you can see it. And if we turn it around this way and push this corner down, you see the bubble moves closer to center. So what that tells me is that this leg over here has to come out a little bit, but what we'll do is we'll bring this one down. I'll move this over here, and I'll bring this one down to this bubble's level, and then kind of go off of that and adjust these other two over here. I'm not going to bore you with that, but I'll show you the level when we're said and done. Okay, so I've leveled the bench. You see it's a lot more sturdy. It will rattle a little bit until it gets some weight on there. But if we look at the bubble, it's centered from front to back. Pretty close. I mean, it's not precision level, but I mean, for what we're doing, I think it's good enough. That side looks good. The back, I don't know that you can see the bubble or not, is good. And the front bubbles in the center. So, all right, with that part down, we need to concentrate on the oil pan or chip pan, and let me get that and I'll bring you back in. Okay, I have the chip pan and it's pretty close to its final position on the tabletop. And so what we have is we have warpage across these two diagonal corners. This sits nice and flat. This doesn't really move. And so what I've done was I've taken the level, I've put it across the chip pan. I know this isn't perfect, but I'm just more interested in getting the stress out of the casting. So what I've done is I put a door shim under this side here. I don't know if you can see it. And I pushed it in until the bubble's reading level. And then I've put a dial indicator. Here, let me reposition the camera. So I've put a dial indicator at this end, and I've set it at 0. Well, pretty close here. Let's get it on 0. And now what I'm interested in is to see how much this side drops to make a shim to put under it so that I'm not putting any stress under the casting. Once I make that shim, I'll determine what the distance of this shim is over here on the opposite corner, and I'll make that one. So let's see here. All right, 10, 20, 30, there's 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So that's about 103,000. So I'm going to go over to the lathe and make a shim. I'm not going to bore you with that. And when I get that done, I'll bring you back in. Okay, so here's our shim. It's basically 103 thou thick. Might be a thou or two either way, but I don't think that's going to matter for this. It's been deburred, and what we're going to do is slide this right under here. Let's see if I can see here. Right there. Alright, and now there's no perceivable rocking here. But that's not true because I have a shim over here in the opposite corner. So let me move the camera and get the dial indicator set up, and let's figure out how much of a shim we need to get under this side. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm holding pressure on the other corner with the shim, and I have the dial indicator set up here. So let's drop this down and see how much of a shim we need on this side. 10, 20, 30, about 31 thou. You know what? I think maybe I want to look around the shop and see if I got a washer about that thick before I go making something. So 31 thousandths. Let me find out something for that. We'll come back and we'll get her bolted down. Okay, well, I didn't think I'd find anything that thin. So I've cut a shim on the lathe. That was an interesting little thing. It took me a couple goes, but we're right at 32. I'm not going to worry about that foul. So we're going to slide this under this corner. Alright, and we're going to get her bolted down and take a look at it. I'm using lag bolts, so I'll get these started, and I'll bring you back in maybe during the process. I mean, how hard is it to lag bolt something down to a table? So I'll see you here shortly. Okay, I got the 4 1/2" by 3" lag bolts started. The spacers under this side, the spacers under this side. This was pretty good. So I'm just going to tighten these down. It's kind of slow. I was going to put some washers underneath the heads, but the washers that I have are a little bit too large, so I think we'll be all right here, just bolting them down. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to work my way around, bolting it down to the table, and I get that done, because it's going to take a few minutes. No sense in me speeding this up or you watching through it. I'll see you on the other side. Okay, the chip pan or oil pan, whatever it's called, is snug down. It's not going anywhere. I didn't like torque it real tight. I just wanted it snug all the way around. Now, the next thing to do is get the column casting up here and kind of see if it's got any wobble or if it needs any shim. So let me get the column casting up there and let's take a look. Okay, I have the column casting lifted up in place, and I'm not barely perceiving any rock, so I think we'll probably be okay. I don't have any shim stock, or maybe I would try to put a feeler gauge under there, maybe get a piece of shim, but I'm really not feeling hardly anything at all. So I think I'm going to go with that. So let me find the hardware. It takes 4 1/2" bolts, and let's get this thing bolted down. Okay, the column is held down with 1/2 13 by 1" bolts. That's what the old ones were that I took out. So that's what we're putting back in there. So let me get these started. Interesting. The bolt acts like it's almost not long enough. I might have to trade that one out. Let me get the other one snug down. I'm sorry if my arm's in the way. All right. That's good and snug. That's good and snug. That's good and snug. I don't know. Yeah, interestingly enough, this casting must be thicker or something, because it won't start. So I think what I'll do is I'll find another, won't bother you guys with it, I'll find a larger, a longer 1/2" by 13, maybe 1.5", and if I have to nick it down a little bit so it doesn't run into the bench top, I'll do that. But you know, as I recall, this column only had 3 bolts in it when I took it apart, so maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's why. Okay, so let me position the camera and let's rattle a little bit. Okay, so that's progress, right? The bench has been leveled up. It's very sturdy now. The chip oil pan, it's got some shims under, so we're not racking the casting. This probably could have used some shim material, but I don't have any. But it was barely perceptible, so I think it'll be okay, right? It's pretty sturdy. One bolt, of course, you know, it's not quite long enough. I feel just wanting to catch the threads, but why play with fire, right? So, guys, I know that took a while, right, for me to get back this video here out from my last one after I said, well, I got plenty of time in the shop these days. Well, I got more time, let's put it that way. So what's next? Let me have some input from you guys. Should I get the spindle in next, right? You know, I got new bearings for it. The cups will need to be pressed in and that sort of stuff. I got grease that's recommended for these bearings. Or should I look at the knee and the jack screw next? So either one would probably be okay to do. I know the more we get into it, the more we're going to have to, we're probably going to have to make a few parts. I think I'm missing a few. I think some are just so poor shape that I would just feel better making new ones if it's within my ability, right? So that's where we're at, guys. Hey, look, thanks for watching. Thanks for taking the time to spend with me. I appreciate it. Comment, like, subscribe if you want, or dislike if you want, if you think this really sucks. So, again, thank you for your time, and other than that, have a blessed day.
That's all, folks. Ha 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 ha!